Two Things Wrong with Anthropology by Jim Harries, January 2022. I here present what to me are some straws that break the back of the camel of anthropology's acceptability. Good anthropologists might find my critique childish or oversimple. Better anthropologists will change their lives or their profession. Bad anthropologists might just get to not like me. I consider the kinds of anthropological projects engaged to better understand African and other majority world people, especially those based on research in majority world homelands. I assume an anthropologist uses qualitative and participant observation research, uses of quantitative methods being too far off the scale of acceptability in the first place. I'm a Christian missionary from the UK who has lived with indigenous African people, sharing with them daily using their own languages since 1988. The first of my issues is that anthropology is extractive, yet that anthropological reports subsequently direct indigenous research. The publication of, or awarding degrees for, research write-ups on Africa in today's Western-based English-centered academia gives text a global visibility. Such can oblige subsequent researchers to build on them, like it or not, whether they make indigenous sense or not. Africans are not permitted to publish research on their own people that is not from a Western perspective. The paying of research assistance to ensure their cooperation, the dominance of English and thus categories foreign to Africa, and writing up being primarily oriented to pleasing an obscure, incomprehensible set of foreign professors easily renders anthropological research gobbledygook to locals who are not highly foreign trained. Secondly, perhaps my main problem with anthropology arises from its orientation to pleasing secularists. Anthropologists often gloss over ways that people live that cause suffering or death for themselves or others, e.g., use of drugs, thinking that ignores economic productivity, sexual promiscuity. That is good, as it is not good to condemn. It is also misleading, as readers of anthropologists' work remain blind to what is going on. If a reader were there, they might be shocked. The anthropologist's account sifts out the shock content. Anthropologists concentrate on ways of justifying people's intelligence following secular Western reasoning. Supposedly neutral research consistently uses a peculiar, obscure, only really understood by Westerners, and historically evolved ideology of Western origin as its explanatory framework. Public outcomes of research supposedly about people X or Y become a justification for a secular view to be the pinnacle of global understanding. The understanding of laymen, of religious people, and even of the indigenous themselves becomes subject to the primordial aim to perpetuate the dominance and apparent neutrality of secular hegemony. When this dominates decision-making during write-up, one might even wonder why the research was done in the first place, except for collecting anecdotes and to communicate an apparent "I was there" authority. Perhaps some people don't realize that when secular anthropologists praise the understanding of traditional people, they are proclaiming their own secularism to be a kind of God who everyone else should worship. Instead of correcting error, a constant flow of new anthropologists want their reductionist anthropological training to objectivize other people's ways of life. This is not understanding building an understanding. It is leaving secular hegemonic dominance unchallenged. Shocking ways of life, from a Western point of view, being domesticated into native English to seem normal, much like us, obviates the need for any other than secularly based interventions, e.g. aid money to help to resolve issues of poverty. The need for moral guidance is obviated. The impact of the saving gospel of Jesus is occluded. Treating people differently due to their ethnicity is rendered racism. The misleading bubble of secular superiority being blown way beyond proportion, damning good sense alternatives that happen not to fit, pauperizes people by concealing the reasons for their plight. What should be done? Honest, conscientious Western people, they're the ones with the power to influence, should undermine the gobbledygook for the sake of honesty, and let it be said, salvation of souls. As the work of the Church once saved the West, trying to, in formal circles, deny the majority world the gospel of Jesus so as to fulfill secular taboos is serious, as it is denying people knowledge of God's grace and love for mankind.